This is Seesaw, and I'd like to show you two examples of how I've used Seesaw to showcase the students' work to their parents as well as to themselves as feedback. So I've got 5 classes prepped to year 2, and I'll showcase year 1.2, year 1 here. So over here, I have set up one post for everyone. That means everyone in the class will get access to this particular post, and it's about all the children singing a Mother's Day song to their moms. And so as you can see, this is something that could be pushed up to everyone, and it's kind of like a blog. Um, the second post I'd like to share is an individual post by a student called Olivia. So we put up a picture of her Mother's Day card, which shows her handwriting, Chinese character with pinyin on top. And I wanted to give her a personal feedback on her own handwriting and her artwork. And when she clicks onto Seesaw herself, she could press the play button where I've recorded my own feedback, and she can listen to comments about her handwriting, as opposed to reading the words here, because some year 1 students are still not able to read. So just clicking on, she would listen to the feedback, and when mom or dad comes in to look at it later on, they will also see the same post. This is HIVE. I'm going to show you an assessment task that I've set up for year 5. In year 5, this couple of weeks, we are going to be making a Chinese chatterbox. So if you have played with a Chinese chatterbox before, you know that the outside layer will lead you to a middle layer. And then once you open up the middle layer, it goes into a final layer. So 3 layers altogether. And I sometimes use this to have the students play around to make different sentences, different combinations of sentences. So this would appear under my unit, How We Express Ourselves, and we'll look at due work under Chinese chatterbox. So for year 5, we're investigating using the calendar date, a noun, a verb, and then another noun. So they need to make use of these 3 parts to put it into 3 parts of the chatterbox. And that's worth a total of 20 points based on a rubric. So I've set up a very simple rubric for them so students are clear what they need to achieve to get the points desired. So a video would be 10 points, submitting on HIVE, and a chatterbox would be 5 points, where they've got to submit 3 photos of each of those 3 layers. And then a writing sheet worth 5 points, where they actually write down the sentences that they've made in Pinyin and in English. And once they've done those tasks and ready to submit, they would be able to press the button Create Submit down here. And now I'm going to show you how I've set up the due work. And that would be under Modify. Press these 3 buttons here. Modify. And this is my actual working document on how I've set up the assignment task for them. So as you can see earlier, I've put in the title, and this is a formative assessment task, of which I've given points anyway, but you don't have to give points for a formative assessment task if you don't want to. This is what I've done earlier on when I put in the rubric. That's the main text box where you put in your instructions. And you can attach files, and in this case, I've attached some vocabulary lists where they could pick and choose what they want to put in the chatterbox. And bearing in mind, we've actually learned how to make these sentences last week already. So this is putting it in practice. You can allow an online submission, or You don't have to. In this case, I want them to have multiple chances of submitting. Sometimes they only submit the video at one time, and the next time they come back in, they submit the writing or photographs. So giving multiple submissions is good. Publish date and open date would be today's date. And due date and late date, I tend to put in a very late date, maybe even December, because if you put an earlier date, say 2 weeks from now, some students will be late, and if the deadline's there and the assignment's closed, they can't get in anymore. It's probably better to make it a bit more flexible. In terms of grading, you could allow them to do a self-reflection or a self-assessment or nothing. You could make it visible to staff only, staff and students. And I believe later on in term 3, you could click this button and say staff, students, and their parents. So parents can come in. You can choose which due work or assessment task you want parents to see. So you might want to just choose the key ones to be visible to parents. The mark type, I've chosen to do a total mark here because I want it to be out of 20. So I've put in the word 20 as the maximum available marks. And I'll update this. So once students have submitted their work, you could go into the Teacher's Assessment tabs here. Once you click in, you'll see all the available assessments that's been out there. So for me, I've got year 3 to year 6 here. And I'll click into the Chinese Chatterbox assessment for year 5, and I'll go into it. I can actually see that 3 students have handed in. So I'm going to go into these 3 students' work to mark them. Click here. So Maya, Luca, and Zach have submitted, and I've actually marked Maya's one already, and I'll show you how I've done that. So she's received a grade of 17, and these are the comments that I've done based on the 3 things she's submitted: the video, the chatterbox, and the writing sheet. Let's go into what she's done and have a look at how the marking was done. In her second submission, Maya has submitted a video, a movie, and apparently they need to submit something less than 1 minute for it to actually be allowed to be uploaded. Anything more than 1 minute, it doesn't upload. She also submitted her writing, and I'll click onto her writing to show you how I've marked it. There's an app called Cami that allows you to mark documents submitted. It could be a Word document, it could be a picture file like this one. It could also be some other types of files. And over here with Cami, you can use a stylus or use your finger to give comments by drawing. So click this drawing button. So you could give ticks. You could write down, in this case, I put in how, which means good. So you can write, or you can put in a text comment or an audio comment. And once you do that, there's a yellow dot that comes out, or any other colored dots that comes out. And you can see that I can actually type a more lengthy comment over here for her. So after I finish marking her writing, I'll go back to her movie and listen to her, how she's spoken those words, and that's the audio. So based on these submissions, and she's also submitted a photo of her chatterbox, I've given her a 17 out of 20 mark, and that's based on 8 points for her video, 5 points for her chatterbox photos, and 4 points for her writing sheet. And I'll choose to publish and move on to the next student when I'm ready. And now I'm going to show you what it looks like from the student's point of view. So let's search for Maya. I find Maya, I'll go into her page. So on Maya's page, she would be able to go into her grades and look at what her grades look like. So if I choose Chinese, she could see that her work's actually been marked. How we express ourselves, Chinese chatterbox, that's been marked. So let's click onto it. And then at the bottom of it, she can see her feedback. So that written feedback by me, it's here. So if she clicks onto it, she can see the detail of my comments over here and the mark over here. And if you had chosen for her parents to also view this, when you click on visibility to parents, parents can also view this particular assignment's feedback. Hope this helps. Thank you.